Okay, so I have a bunch of different blocks here that I can walk you through different material types and styles and advantages and disadvantages of different types of blocks. The most common thing, well, the one thing that all of these blocks have in common is the Velcro. The Velcro is the #1 most important piece of your block construction because that's how it's going to attach to the bandolier. So people can collect a bunch of different blocks. But that means that when you're putting together your blocks, it always has to have the same side of the Velcro on the block. So my general rule of thumb that makes it easy to remember is hard on hard, soft on soft. The hard Velcro is the hook side. If you're buying just materials for making blocks, I'll put a link to what I like to buy in the description. So this is the hook, and on the bandoliers, it's always the loop. So no matter who is throwing a block or a bandolier, everything will always match up. So the biggest, most common material is usually wood. A lot of people like to use Jenga blocks because they're already a really nice size. If you don't have access to a saw, you can just buy it at the store and they're pretty much ready to go and decorate, and you just can paint however you want to decorate them. The one thing is that they are a little small, so you're a little limited in size of what you can fit on your block, but it's a really easy, simple way to have a nice wooden block. I think there are even generic brands of Jenga that you can get at like Walmart that are really affordable, and you get a bunch in one game. And then with the Jenga blocks, sometimes you can see from just these, some of them are horizontal and some of them are vertical. And so that will make kind of a difference in how they sit on someone's bandolier. But if you're not really that worried about it, it's just, you know, something to think about when you're designing what you're going to embellish your block with. When you are attaching your Velcro to your blocks, a lot of times it really depends on what type of materials your block is made of that will kind of dictate what's the best way to attach your block. Hot glue is a really good option. Sometimes, depending on your material, if it's really slick or if it's not very porous, it's hard for the Velcro to stick on with the hot glue, and so sometimes it's easier to use a staple gun. I have blocks where I have both Velcroed, I glued the Velcro and stapled it, so it's extra secure. So these are 2 blocks that I made, and this one you can see the Velcro is not glued down, it's just stapled, and it's a little loose. And it's not that big of a deal, but it's enough of a wiggle that it's noticeable when it's sitting on the bandolier that it's not as secure. So that's one of the reasons why I started gluing and stapling, because some of the materials I used, I found over time the hot glue doesn't stick as well, or it melts and it deforms. And if you want to make something that really lasts, it's easier to make it super, super durable. So when we're looking at something like these bigger blocks, these are things that I cut from some wood trim. I bought a big, I want to say like an 8-foot long piece of trim, and I'll look that up on, I think I got it from like Home Depot or Lowe's or any store like that. And what I really liked about the trim that I got was that it was already pre-primed, so everything was white. It's got a nice finish where it's a finished product that will go in someone's house. So it's nice and smooth. It doesn't have any rough edges, so you don't have to worry about sandpapering it if you're worried about something being rough. Sometimes a rough edge is not that big of a deal, but it kind of just depends on your final look that you're going for. If you want something that's really shiny and nice and polished, then you might want a finished sanded edge. And if it's something that's a little more rustic looking and it doesn't matter if it's polished, then you can use a different type of wood material. But I really like this because it's already primed. So I'll make sure to put that link in the description. But what I liked about this size, it's 2.5 inches wide, and I cut each block to the same length. That's 3.5 inches. So it is going to match up really nicely with the bandolier when it's all together and finished. This surface gives you a lot of room to work with and design something. If you wanted to put a lot of embellishments on it, you've got a lot of room to work with. So that's one of the things I like about this size. When we're moving on to some other materials like resin, one of the best things about resin is that you can kind of create any number of looks. So these two things are cast in a mold where this coin was an original that was a found object, and then a mold was made, and then the resin was cast to make multiple duplicates for throws, and then the Velcro is added on to the back. Whereas something like this is something that Rachel Moore made when Crap did their Viva Darth Vegas theme. She made an original that was 3D printed and then made a mold of that 3D printed object and then cast all of these with resin in the mold to make copies. So it gives you this really nice finished product that's exactly whatever you want to design from start to finish. And then these two are also resin that I made and cast into just a regular square, a rectangular soap mold. And then I decorated the fronts of them. And one of the things I like about resin is that it's really easy to embed glitter or other objects into your cast thing. So for these two, I embedded some blinky lights, and so it gives it kind of a whole other level of awesome, I think. And I'm pretty sure that Rachel did some of these with lights too. So it's really nice to be able to work with in that medium and be able to use something blinky and flashy, because it just makes a really nice finished throw. And then this last group we have over here are upcycled objects. So we've got some cassette tapes. These are really easy to just paint, decorate, and then attach your Velcro to the back. This one is a tin, kind of like an Altoid tin or mint tin or something like that, that's been upcycled, decorated, Velcro on the back, and then it opens up and it's a nice little cute message inside. And then this one is I'm pretty sure this is just a piece of foam board, like poster board, that is cut to a rectangle, Mod Podge with some decoration and some other objects, a little shrinky dink. So it's really easy to cut, and you could make this into any shape using these kind of materials. So that's kind of just a sampling. There are a lot of possibilities. You could really use any number of different materials. And then once you start adding your decorations, you just want to start thinking about what your finished product looks like. I always like to make sure that we put our sub-cruise hashtags and what year it's made on the sides of our blocks so that they're easy to find on Instagram, and we can share and repost and just get really excited about who ended up with this cool, unique throw. So when you're looking at your materials and your sizes, how much you can fit on a block will kind of dictate what information you're able to include on your block. So a lot of times people will put IKOC just because it's a lot easier than putting Crew of Chew or Chewbacchus. Honestly, I've seen a lot of people misspell Chewbacchus on Instagram, so there's that. IKOC is a little bit easier to remember and to put into a hashtag, but that is a really easy way for you to grow your social media base and connect with the people who end up with your throw. So that's all I have for today. If you have any more questions about how to make a block, or if there are other videos that you want to see from CHEWB TUBE, please comment below, like this video, subscribe to our channel. We will post links to all of the various supplies, and make sure that you are following us on Facebook and Instagram so you can keep up with all the things that are coming out and everything we're doing. Thanks.